What's up, everybody? Behind me in my Traeger Pro 34, we have a 12.5-pound whole packer beef choice brisket. It's gonna be delicious. Today we're gonna follow along on Traeger's website, their Traeger BBQ Brisket recipe, available on their website and in the description below. We're only gonna make a few slight modifications. We'll talk about that later, so be sure to stay tuned. We're gonna talk about how to trim a brisket from your regular old box grocery store. We're gonna talk about dry brining and why you should start doing it. And I'm gonna show you how to make an easy brisket rub right there at home that you don't have to pay extra money for the label. And then we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna smoke it in the Traeger. It's gonna be great. So guys, from the YouTube channel, it says try this at home. Welcome to the neighbor's kitchen. Let's get cooking. Alright, let's start out by trimming our whole packer brisket. So you're going to want some kind of a fillet knife or a boning knife. I like this fillet knife because it's a little bit flexible and has a nice point to it. And we're going to start out by cutting off this kind of hard fat. I'm not real sure what the difference is between the two kinds of fat. I'm not a biologist by any means. But this section of fat on every brisket, I've never had good luck getting it to render down. So I remove as much of it as I can, and I usually start there. So I don't know if you can tell on camera or not, but it's this it's quite literally hard fat. And you can tell the difference by feeling it. If you feel any of the other fats, and it also has a little bit of a different color. It's a different kind of stuff we don't want. So we're gonna go ahead with our fillet knife and just remove it. Kind of like, I don't know if it's necessary to cut this fat all the way down this deep, or if maybe that's not a good idea. I don't know, but I really have not had good luck getting this fat to render, so I don't want it on my brisket. No, this isn't pretty. I'm sure you've seen better jobs at trimming a brisket, but at the end of the day, I'm not entering this into a competition. I want my cut of brisket to go serve as many people as possible, and the less I cut off, the more servings I'm going to have. And also, I'd like to note that we're not trying to get rid of all the fat. Basically, what you want to do if you're trimming your own brisket is you want a nice uniform layer of fat so that it renders nice and evenly, keeping the whole brisket nice and moist. And also, fat is flavor. So that little point there, wherever you see me kind of pull off a little flap of meat, that's usually something that's straight from the butcher. That I don't know if it was like something in the machine work, or maybe it was made on a Monday. I'm not real sure, but that flap is going to be really hard to season. It's going to cook faster, shrivel up, and just get rid of it. So I'm going to do that, and then up here at the point, I'm just going to trim some fat off. Not going all the way down to the muscle, but I want a nice kind of even. There's another one of those flap things. This was not the best brisket I've ever bought. So now you can see the fat cap side. And what my goal is on the fat cap side is I just want to remove enough fat so that all the way from, what is that, like east to west, you just want it to be an even layer. So you see how it's kind of thicker towards me? I'm going to cut off most of my fat from that side. It was probably about 1/4 of an inch on the side facing the wall. So I'm going to cut off some fat, just kind of feeling around. There's no science to this. But I'm going to cut some of the thicker fat off here, leaving a nice, evenly distributed fat cap. Yeah, kind of like that. That's why you want to use a fillet knife, or a boning knife. Something that's thin and flexible will be fine. And make sure it's good and sharp. A dull knife is more dangerous than a sharp knife, believe it or not. So we're just going to go ahead and keep on going until you're satisfied. And that's exactly what I'm doing. So I would like to point out that And I hope you are enjoying my videos, and be sure to stay tuned to the end of this video. I have a very special guest who's going to try this with me. And at the very end, after that, I have a brief segment for you where I actually discuss everything going through this recipe that I changed along the way, that I would change for next time, and we're just going to run through that all together. So here, you can see I flipped it back over, and I just wanted more of that hard fat gone, and it's kind of left a little bit of a void, and that's going to be, we'll see if it'll be a problem or not. And then here's some more weird machine marks or something. I'm not sure what that was, but I wanted that off because I knew it was going to be a seasoning nightmare. So I'm kind of being a little OCD here, and that's okay. You only get one chance to do this, so go ahead and don't be afraid to spend some time here. And when you're satisfied, go ahead and clean up. Cue the cleanup music. Yep, there you go. Anything that actually has beef in it, maybe don't throw that away. Make a nice stew meat, maybe? I don't know. So when you're satisfied, go ahead, and I'm going to switch my cutting board for a baking sheet with drying rack, and we're going to dry brine. So dry brining, simplified, is salting meat and then letting it rest in open refrigerated air. What it does is it uses the meat's own moisture to make a brine, and then it soaks back in. Two of my favorite of the many benefits of this, beyond not just making a giant mess with brining solution, is an elevated flavor and a beautiful brown crispy crust on the outside. You absolutely gotta try this. It's very simple to do. You will need a drying rack like you see me using so that you have airflow around all sides, and then you just evenly coat it with coarse kosher salt. It's that easy. Alright. Now we're going to go ahead and make our brisket rub. So you're going to start out with 2 tablespoons of light brown sugar, 2 tablespoons of smoked paprika, and of course I have to get the paprika with the clumps in it. Oh, goodness. Yep, there we go. And then 1 tablespoon black pepper, half a tablespoon of garlic powder, and half a tablespoon of onion powder. You will notice salt is not in this rub because we just dry brined. So dry brining is a step with salt, so the salt is already there. If you were to make a rub with salt or use a store-bought rub that has a lot of salt in it, you will immediately have a way too salty brisket. So if you're going to dry rub something, just be very cautious what seasonings you're putting on alongside of it. Alternatively, if you are following along with me and you choose not to dry brine your brisket and want to try this rub, just add 2 tablespoons of kosher salt in there to an undry brined brisket. Oh, that was a mouthful. So here I'm just trying to break up my clumps. I kind of gave up. So here's after 24 hours of dry brining. Can you see how the color's already changed? Now in that pocket we did get a little moisture, so I'm just going to go ahead and soak that up. And then here in a second, I'm going to go ahead and just reapply salt into that little void. Because why not? Sounded like a good idea. And that crust is already forming. So now we're going to take our rub that is salt-free, and we're just going to evenly spread it all over the brisket. Right like so. Get nice, even distribution, and every time if you have these onion clumps like I do, just make sure to pinch them loose so that it's being distributed evenly. You don't want to get a bite that's just pure onion. Ooh, or do you? I don't know. Maybe you do. I don't. So just get both the big sides and the little sides. Nice even distribution like you see right there. And when you're happy, you're gonna go ahead and just, nope, not happy yet, sorry. Okay, we're almost there. Oh, there we go. Okay, so now we're gonna flip it over to the fat cap side. And here, I don't really season the fat cap a whole lot. I like to put a little in there. It really helps with aroma. But most of this is gonna be rendered away. So now, according to Traeger's recipe, they want us to wrap it in plastic wrap for 12 to 24 hours. So I'm gonna go ahead and oblige and just wrap this bad guy up with plastic wrap, and no real rhyme or reason. And then I'm gonna put it in the fridge for 12 hours before taking it out and putting it on the smoker. So that's cool. Yeah. All right. How much plastic wrap are you gonna use? Is that truly necessary? It must be. All right. I'll see you guys in the morning. Well, good morning, everybody. I know usually when I say that, we're about to cook breakfast, but today we're cooking dinner, and it is way too early for me. It is 7 a.m. Let me get you caught up. An hour ago at 6 a.m., pulled our brisket out of the fridge and let it start to get to room temperature. What that does, helps you not shock the meat. We got that. This has been seasoning for 12 hours, 24 hours before that. It's been dry brined. And then over the last about 20 minutes, everything ignited and then preheated to 225 degrees. That's in Fahrenheit. We're gonna go ahead and unwrap this. First, I wanna talk about your fat cat placement. So if you take to Google and you search for fat cat up or down, you will see myriad of arguments for both ways. Almost to that of like religion or politics. Not quite as bad as your favorite brand of truck though. You know what I mean. The truth is, there's no right or wrong way when it comes to fat cap up or down. They have different purposes and different outcomes with a little bit of intent. Both are right. We're going fat cap down today. A, because the recipe that we're following along with calls for that, and B, because that's usually my preference as well. With this style smoker or grill, the firebox is directly underneath the meat. It's not an offset smoker. So the fat cap on the bottom acts as a little bit of protection, kind of like an insulator. Downfall that I can see personally between up or down is an up. When the fat cap starts to render and you have it faced up, fat starts to drip down, all your seasoning has the potential to wash off. So let's get this bad boy unwrapped. Let's get our thermometer probe fixed, get it placed in the smoker, and then I'm going back to bed for a few hours. I wish you guys could smell this. The brown sugar in combination with the smoked paprika, it already smells phenomenal. So we have our flat and our point. And our point is the thick part. You can kind of see the muscle up here. We want to take the thermometer from this side and put it in the thickest area, which is right about there. So I'm going to try to get it just using my fingers as kind of a template here. I want to put it most of the way in. Can you see that all right? I left about an inch out, which puts it right about in the center, right about there, which is where you want it to be. Through our port here, plug it into probe 1, lid down for a quick baseline. Let's see where we're at. Probe 1 says 20 degrees. That's pretty cold. I don't know if I believe that or not. We'll keep checking on it about every hour, 2 hours. Guys, thanks for hanging out with me today. This is gonna be a fun one. All right, I'll see you in a bit. What's up, guys? It's 9 o'clock. I got a couple more hours of sleep. That was nice. We're holding pretty steady. It's at 228 internal temperature, and our built-in probe is saying we're at 150 already. I don't know if I believe that or not. So I brought some gloves and a different thermometer station right there. It's the kind you can walk around with. Not sure that's accurate. Let's go ahead and put some gloves on and get a secondary thermometer going. It's good. Hook this back up. That gets turned on. This gets turned on. All right, I gotta double check that, see if my eyes are wrong, because that's saying 106, which is far more believable. So if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna get over here. I don't think that probe's reading correctly. I'm gonna listen to this one and we'll investigate why that's so off later. All right, so guys, I think after this little thermometer debacle, I'll check on it in an hour instead of 2 hours, so I'll see you guys at 10. I'm gonna go make some coffee, change my clothes, start cleaning the house. We got people coming over in 7 hours. All right, guys, it's 10 o'clock on our Charbroil wireless remote thermometer, showing 131. I believe that. That's about right. So the stall on a brisket is going to be between 150 and 170 degrees. Let's see what the Traeger probe says. I'm going to guess I bet it doesn't match up. So hang on. Yeah, it says it's 150 degrees. That's disturbing. Not a deal breaker. I love the Traeger. We just might start using this all the time. I might look into other thermometers. What do you guys use at home? Meter? You ever tried, I don't know what else is out there. Let me know in the comments below. But I like where we're at. At 160 degrees, we wrap it. So, I'm gonna check back in another hour and see where we're at, and then we'll kind of get an idea of when we gotta wrap it, all right? See you guys at 11. It's 11 o'clock check. 147. I tell you what, let's check the Traeger probe real quick to see if there's still a discrepancy. Yeah, it says it's 165, so it is continuously high. Both probes are in the same place too, so I think I'm gonna stop using that probe and we're just gonna keep using this. You wanna take a look at it? Let's see what we got here. Oh, would you look at that? Yes, I am seeing if I can hard boil some eggs in the smoker. I haven't eaten yet today. I just got the kitchen all cleaned up and I don't want to make a mess out of it quite yet. So we're at 147. We are 4 hours in. I think I'll see you again in an hour. I'm gonna keep up the hourly updates until we get wrapped. I gotta go finish up the house and then I'm gonna start making all of our sides. That's gonna be a whole separate video, comes out the same time as today, so don't miss that. See you guys in an hour. What's up, guys? It's noon. Let's get our hourly update. What do you think? Before I turn it on. All right. So 154. So I think we've hit the stall. I'm gonna leave it. We're gonna abide by the instructions that Traeger provided us. I'm gonna start mowing the grass. If we hit 160 before an hour, we'll go ahead and wrap it. I think we're looking pretty good. If I start looking a little bit stressed, it's because I am. I'm not yet, but I'm getting there. So, all right, guys. I will see you either in an hour or when I see this thing hit 160. What's up, guys? It is 1:45 and we finally reached 160 degrees. So we're about 45 minutes behind where we targeted, that's fine. Don't rush this step. The stall can take a little different times all over the place, but we were definitely in the stall. We were picking about 2 degrees an hour for a little while there. So let's get this sucker off of there, and we're gonna wrap it in some butcher paper, and then we're gonna take it all the way up to 204 degrees. I have just some regular knit gloves that then I'm gonna put my rubber gloves over, and these work as an insulator so I don't burn myself. I don't like picking up my brisket with tongs or the forks. I don't like to puncture it any more than I have to. Plus, in this case, we've already punctured it twice with two probes. I'm gonna take the Traeger probe out of there since it's not working, and we're just gonna leave the auxiliary one in. Look at that. So, we are going to have to do this a little bit differently because I couldn't find butcher paper that was big enough. So, how am I going to do this? Make sure to shut your smoker. One second. All right. I could stand to have a little bigger work area here. I'm gonna go ahead and put this back on the smoker for just a minute, as I forgot a step. So I got a second sheet of butcher paper. And I'm gonna try to artificially expand it a little bit. I'm gonna take just some water and wet it down. You don't want all your good juices soaking into the butcher paper. That'll dry it out, and that's bad. So we've kind of artificially expanded it here. That's more like it. And now, kind of wrap it like a burrito. Remember where your fat cap is. Fat cap's on the bottom. So we're gonna flip it. Now the fat cap's on the top. I'm gonna go ahead and take the excess over here, fold it over, take the excess over here. I'm gonna tear a little slit for the cord to come out of. All pretty. Flip it one more time. There you go. Now we go back on the smoker. Fat cap down still. Plug the thermometer back in. Now we're going to set the target temp to 204. All right. So, I got all my mowing done. I got all my chores done. I'm going to take the camera inside and start making our sides. We'll be checking on this now probably every 2 hours. We're still working our way through the stall. Target's 204. We're already 45 minutes over where I thought I would be, so we're just gonna play it by ear. Appreciate you hanging in there. So excuse me, I'm gonna start recording a different video for you guys before people start showing up. And hey, just hope, hey, thank you. Ran out of words there. I'll see you guys in a bit. Are you guys ready to see what we did here? It only took 12 hours to get here, so if it's disappointing, I blame someone else. So, Remember that little flap we made? It's right there. This has been sitting long enough, it's cool enough for me to touch. So we're gonna just unwrap it like a Christmas present. Of course, I'm already making a mess out of myself. There's the bottom. Let's go ahead and flip it over. Get it off of the butcher paper. Remember, we had to make 2 slices. It jiggles like you see on the internet. See? I think we did pretty good. Let's carve this. Let's see what we did. So the proper way to carve a brisket. See how it kind of has this curve to it? This is the flat. This is the point. You want to cut against the grain. And you kind of see how this muscle here is curved. The grain goes this way. So the best way to cut a brisket, a lot of people want to go this way, which is perpendicular to the long side. With this curve, if you actually turn it a little bit and you go more like this, that'll be perfect. So we're going to start down here at the flat and let's see what it looks like. Yeah, that's not too bad. We got a good smoke ring. Let's keep going here. So we're just going to cut it nice and easily. You don't have to have much pressure. See how it falls apart at the bottom? That's what happens when you put your fat cap at the bottom. Okay? And your knife, you should not have to put much pressure on it. See? Here's another piece. Look at that smoke ring. See how the bark is staying on top? See why I chose to put my fat cap on the bottom? It was all intentional. And there is nothing wrong with the other way, like I told you. We're just cutting it into about 1/4 inch slices. We're going to go all the way down here. This is cutting very nicely. I'm not having to put any effort into it whatsoever. Look at this. That's what I'm talking about. It's just falling apart. I can really smell that brown sugar. Look at this. See how it's falling apart? That is why you wait for temperature, not time. Sure, we could have pulled this off a couple hours ago, but it would not have looked like that. Sure, it's absolutely killing me that I can't take a taste right now, but I understand that it's 190 degrees and I don't want to put that in my mouth. That's called experience, folks. Somebody else does not feel the same way. How is it? I got a thumbs up.
2 thumbs up.
2 thumbs up. I love it. What's up, everybody? Thanks for hanging out with me today for like 12 hours while we cooked this brisket. Listen, to try this with me, I got one of my best friends, Austin.
Hola.
Austin, how long have we known each other?
At least 20 years.
I think that's a little bit of a... But we went to public school together, so math is not our specialty.
Correct.
So,
correct.
But, hey, we're going to try this brisket together. Can I offer you a plate, sir?
Absolutely.
All right.
What do we got this seasoned with?
Oh, so this is custom neighbor's flavor.
Okay.
So we did a little, we tried something I've never seen online before. I don't know if this is a good idea or not.
Sure.
I actually dry brined this for 24 hours.
All right.
And then I made my own custom rub with no salt in it because the dry brine is all the salt
Correct.
you need. But it's a little bit of,
So it's nice and juicy.
it's brown sugar,
Okay.
black pepper, some smoked paprika, and onion and garlic.
So it smells phenomenal.
Yep.
Cheers, my friend.
Cheers, buddy. Let's see what we think.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that just falls apart.
Oh, good. Melt. It's all 10 out of 10 again, buddy.
That's smoked with hickory and apple.
Well, I'm gonna need at least seconds after this.
Cool.
Phenomenal job, bud.
Thanks, my man.
Y'all missing out.
Thank you for
Cheers.
joining me.
Thanks for having me, man.
Yep. Guys, thank you for hanging out with me. Listen, the recipe didn't go quite as planned. Don't be afraid to deviate from something you try, but the important part is that you try this at home. You don't have to do this in a Traeger. You can do this in any other pellet smoker. You can do this in your oven at home. It's the same thing, but we'll talk about that later. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment below on what you think. Let me know what I did wrong. Let me know what I did right. But thank you, guys. We'll see you next week. Be well. Well, if you're still with me, I want to thank you for sticking around to the end of the video. I wanted to take just a couple of minutes to cover what I changed from Traeger's recipe. First off, I was 3 hours late. I ended up pulling the brisket off of the smoker at 190 degrees internal temp. So not only was I 3 hours late, but I didn't get to my target temp. However, I'd like to recognize that I would 100% pull it at 190 again. That was the best brisket I've ever cooked, hands down. I think the next time I do this, I'm going to go back to what experience says from the past when I've done this, and I am going to allow for 90 minutes per pound at 225 smoker temp. Also, this recipe did not call for dry brining, but I cannot stop dry brining things. It's the absolute easiest way to elevate your meal, and I can't recommend enough trying it. It's so simple, and it just, listen, you gotta try it. Other than that, it wanted me to wrap it at 160 degrees internal temp in foil. I used butcher paper instead, and instinct told me to wrap it when I recognized that it was in the stall. I don't know if that had anything to do with our lateness or not. Probably not, but I'm going to go with no. Also, since recording, I have been searching my Traeger thermometer issue, and it turns out I'm not alone. A lot of other folks are switching to a third-party option, and that doesn't bother me. Honestly, with the wireless option, I think I'm going to stick with that. So everybody, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you had a safe Labor Day. And listen, until next time, be well.